Good afternoon. Today is Friday, January 25th. I'm Ian Traub. This is Caleb McKegg, and this is Topic of Discussion. We're going to give you the weekly rundown of all your sports news that you need to know, give you our opinions on what's going down, and then tell you what you need to know. So first up, we've got probably the craziest story of the year in Manti Te'o. Seems like every hour they're coming up with new information. And right now they're saying the voice of the girl that he was talking to for 7-8 hours a night, every night for a year, was actually not Tuiasosopo. It was his cousin, Tino. What do you think about that?
Well, number one, the story, you're right. I just don't see anything can top this. Maybe even in just like news in general. Like,
I feel like Nancy Grace should jump on this.
Yeah, like, well, the thing is that I've heard every possible like side to this. People just throwing out their opinions, but I feel like every time we find out something new, something just as crazy or more crazy comes out. Like, first we hear it was this Renaya Tuiasosopo, this guy who was talking to Te'o on the phone every night, which you'd be like, how can he know
Probably
that
should
it's a
win
guy?
an Oscar if that's actually true. That's a heck of a performance.
And now the family is saying that it was their cousin Tino Tuiasosopo who is a girl, but like, I mean, who do you believe now? Like,
yeah.
I'm completely lost on this.
And honestly, I mean, if this family is really in on that, who has that amount of free time to just mess with a guy?
Yeah.
Like, they live hundreds of, even thousands of miles away from him. Like, what do they have against Te'o? Something just doesn't add up with this story, and I think that's why America is so into it right now. I don't know that we're ever going to have, like, an actual real answer of what's going on, though. I mean, it's just too far out there in the land of, Hollywood scandal, and it really shouldn't be. I mean, he's a quiet guy. He's real reserved, great leader of his team, great player, but, I mean, somebody hates him in the world. So, I mean, I hope he figures it out, and I hope it doesn't hurt his position in the draft and everything.
Because the national championship already did that.
Yeah, true. But I mean, he's still at least a solid second round. I don't see him going any lower than that. But
I think still going first.
I think the fact of all this drama that surrounds him. I mean, like, look at the Jets with Tebow. Like, Tebow was a superstar of fame, and completely tore that team apart. Not his fault, but just everything around him. All he ever talked about was Tebow and not the actual team. And I think people are going to see that with Te'o too. So hopefully that doesn't happen to him. He's a great guy. Went to Notre Dame, great football program. Has like every record there. So I mean, he
has a future in the league.
He put in the work. He deserves some success. But we got Super Bowl coming around.
Yep.
Greatest time of year for me. Huge football fan. But we got so many storylines there too. We got Harbaugh brothers. They're going against each other. There's actually a trend on Twitter talking about like what is the best name for the Super Bowl with them for hashtag Harbaugh, hashtag Super Bowl, Super Bowl. I mean, it's getting crazy. Ray Lewis's last game almost hands down, and then Kaepernick just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to put as the biggest story. What do you think?
I mean, I think they're all just like great stories. I don't think we've seen a Super Bowl that has this many separate storylines in as far back as the Super Bowl goes. I mean, two brothers who completely came out of the college game and made a very quick impact on like two NFL teams that really weren't at like the top of their game. Ray Lewis, one of the best linebackers to ever play the game. He might be the best.
I'd say he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's his...
Maybe LT.
True, yeah. It's his last game. It's going to be very emotional for him. He's an emotional guy. And then you have Kaepernick, who, the only reason I even knew he was before this year was because he beat Boise State.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
That was a great bowl between Nevada and Boise State.
Yeah, and so he started 10 games this year. He's been great, and I mean he's just another example of this whole read option that the NFL offenses are starting to run.
And it makes you question, why has this not been in the league for forever? I mean, they almost killed it off a couple decades ago as like, it's just not a successful offense, and now every successful team this year ran some kind of form of it, it seems. Kaepernick, cannon for an arm and runs like a 4.3 40. Probably one of the fastest guys on the field this year, including Robert Griffin. I bet he gives him a run for his money if you put him head to head now with the injury and everything.
Yeah.
Hopefully, my boy recovers.
He's gonna run.
He did go to my high school. I gotta rep him, but I don't know. I think the biggest story here is Ray Lewis. He has the questionable past. It's really checkered with the murder scandals, and But
I mean, he's not in jail, so I guess
he's a media darling now. I mean, no one seems to talk about that side of him. So it being his last game, coming with the injury, he's still not 100% with that tricep. He's wearing the brace. I don't know. I think him going out is going to be the big story, and then he kind of ties in the Harbaugh story too, because his first sack in the NFL was Jim Harbaugh. So I mean, that's just crazy storylines. Yeah, this is one of the most interesting Super Bowls ever, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to NBA news, we've got every rumor on the planet about Dwight Howard going to whatever team wants him, because I mean, Lakers are saying they're not going to get rid of him, but everyone's talking, Lakers are looking to get rid of him today. If they could move him next, 20 minutes, they're going to trade him. And so right now, big talk is whether the Mavs are going to pick him up. What do you think? I don't know.
Okay, I mean, I personally think that the Lakers ship has officially sunk.
Yes.
I mean, they're just. And if you'd have told me that this was going to happen at the beginning of the year, I would have told you, yeah. And, I mean, Kobe Bryant, he's not the same Kobe Bryant. He's having a good year himself, but Steve Nash, he hasn't done anything. Pau Gasol has not done anything. Dwight Howard, he's had a few good games, but he hasn't been the same. And
plagued by injury too.
Yeah.
That's surprising for someone, so young and so athletic. You just don't see that, but it seems like every week he's got something ailing him. And
and the reason I think he will be traded, I hope it's the Mavs. I don't think I just don't think he wants to go to kind of the same situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, you kind of got to look at it like this. Steve Nash is like 39, 40. Kobe's like 36. So that's two of the main pieces gone. Is Dwight Howard going to want to sign an extension with them at the end of the year? I doubt it.
I really doubt it.
I mean, I think that the Lakers, instead of just letting him walk, they're going to try and trade him just to get something out of it.
And I mean, I really don't see him, he had his pick of, where do you want to go? I don't see that happening. I think the Lakers are ready to just cut ties with him and just won't say it publicly. But all the drama between him and Kobe and, Shaq called him out at one point, and Magic Johnson's called him out for not hustling. I mean, the Lakers is just not a good situation for him, and I don't see him succeeding there. But I honestly don't see him succeeding in Dallas either. He's never going to outshine
He has no
Dirk.
help, too.
And there's no team. That's why they have a losing record this year. The Lakers are just a huge disappointment, underperforming in all aspects of the game. I honestly think D'Antoni needs to, take a defense class or something, because they got no defense.
That was a downfall of that team, hiring him over Phil.
Oh, yeah. And Phil doesn't want to come back. So, I mean, you can't fault him for not hiring Phil. It's not like they chose D'Antoni over Phil. It's just
they did.
Phil.
I think.
No, Phil doesn't want to come back, and he won't come back. And he said it publicly. I think the Cavs were talking about picking him up at one point this year. It's just not going to happen. He's won 6 rings. He doesn't need any more. I mean, he's done. He's done everything you can do in the NBA. There's no higher level of basketball. He's done. He's not coming back. But in terms of the Mavs picking up Dwight Howard, there's no incentive. I think the Mavs season's over too, and just to dump $12 million on him to pick him up, I just don't see it worth it. It's not worth the salary cap. But Mark Cuban's done crazier things with the Mavs, so, I mean, who really knows? Then we've also got another rumor of trade in the NFL with Darrelle Revis. He's the Jets, number one star on defense, I'd say.
He's the franchise player in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't think you can get rid of him and expect your defense to improve.
Well,
I don't think he's the problem.
I mean, the only reason I think that they might is because he already is the highest paid corner to ever play the game. He's coming into the last year of his contract. He's going to want some kind of a raise. The Jets are already way above the salary cap.
True.
I mean, and that they kind of cleared house this year. They fired the GM. They fired the head of the football operations. They kept Rex Ryan. But I mean, I just kind of feel like I just kind of feel like they're just kind of clearing house there. I mean, Tebow's not going to be there. Sanchez probably won't be there. I can just kind of see them just kind of trying to start new.
The only way they're going to have a successful season next year is if they pull a quarterback out of the magician's hat, because that's their number one problem. They did not have a quarterback last year.
No wide receivers too, though.
Yeah, I mean, their offense has always been run heavy. They've talked about they're done with the ground and pound game, but I mean that's their bread and butter. That's what they're known for. There's no way they get rid of that. So if they're going to have a winning season next year, they better have the best draft class in the history of the NFL, and there's no quarterbacks in this year's draft class that are going to be a franchise quarterback. I mean, they're just not there yet. You can develop one, but they're not there this year. I just really don't see it happening. But going into this weekend, we got a lot of sports action going on. Tarleton men and women are playing Texas A&M Commerce. I'm expecting victories in both of them. Then we got Farmers Insurance opening featuring the Tiger Woods. I mean, he's going off yesterday.
He's only three back, so
teed off about an hour ago, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I'm predicting a win here. I'm gonna say Tiger's gonna blow it out.
Dude.
This is his tournament. He loves Torrey Pines. He's gonna do all right. Then we got Murray versus Djokovic in the Australian Open. I'm not a tennis fan. And
I'm going to have to take Djokovic to win it, though. I think he's unbeatable and Murray chokes.
He's the truth. I mean, if he makes it to the final, he wins.
Yeah.
He wins. Like, every time. That's the only reason I know his name.
That's
he's
for the
always
people
over SportsCenter.
Late Sunday, too, because they got the Australian time. I'm not really sure what time exactly, but late on ESPN.
Maybe the least watched final of any sporting competition this year. And then in your NHL news, I know you're a huge hockey fan. We got the Dallas Stars versus the St. Louis Blues on Saturday.
We're in second in the Pacific. Tune in. The Blues are They're supposed to be a great team.
It's hockey
this year. Dallas just signed Jamie Benn to a big contract, so hopefully he'll be on the ice. And that's it for today's show. We hope you all have a great weekend. Just a word of news for all of our viewers. We're going to start airing the show every Friday at 2:15. So tune in then, and we'll see y'all then.
We're going to change lives. Be prepared.